All right, halftime of Broncos and Cleveland Browns, joined by my good friend Peter Traina. Pete, what is happening on this fine Thursday evening?
Not much, man. I'm feeling good. Last week was my worst week of the year. It was a bloodbath. It was a massacre. The books got crushed. I think you've seen more 20, like five, 10, 15 game parlays hitting yesterday, like with some random, Twitter users posting it, like, check out my sick 8 game parlay. And it was all the favorites, and they just all won last week. And I did not. 2-4.
That's all right. Greener pastures ahead. Greener pastures ahead. Well, we got 4 games that we're going to talk about tonight. Before we get into it, I know you had some other quick thoughts, and then we'll get right into first game on the slate here. We got Chiefs at Titans. So give me your thoughts, and then we'll get into that game.
Well, let's just go right into the Chiefs and Titans. I kind of mentioned it in the beginning about just the favorites last week, and actually past 2 weeks have just been absolutely killing it. And a lot of people talk about fade in public. It's not that. It's not like a. It's like, oh, it's like a money making strategy. You got to pay for that. You're paying the vig, you're paying the -110, so that it's not as easy as just oh, I'm going to bet whatever the majority of people aren't betting. So let's get into the Titans and Chiefs right here.
Let's do it.
All right, so the Titans, they're coming off a huge win over the Bills, and KC, they're kind of not playing as expected. Mahomes, he's had some uncharacteristic turnovers this year, and Derrick Henry's been running all over everybody. And last week we got an AJ Brown side. He had a pretty good game and he was effective. The Chiefs, they've not been good against the spread for almost 2 seasons now. But with that being said, the Titans have a cluster of injuries at the cornerback position. And if I'm a weak secondary, the last thing I want to see is, Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, and all them out there. So, I guess you could say the Chiefs, they also have a one-day rest advantage. Tennessee's coming off Monday Night Football. I think now's the time to get involved with Kansas City before they really get back on track, because then you're going to start to see some silly spreads. Patty Mahomes is going to be super hydrated, Ascension Nation. I still don't fully love the Titans as a whole, but I'm going to take Kansas City -4.5 here. I see this line closer to 6. So final score 32-26, Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm in on the Chiefs covering that one as well. Tennessee struggled to keep up with the Jets in that second half of that game, passing wise. And that's, I love Zach Wilson, but he's not Pat Mahomes. And there's a lot to be excited about with, Corey Davis and co there, but it's not Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and a lot of the explosive options there. So I'm surprised the Chiefs are only favored by 4.5. I think it should be closer to a touchdown. And I think Kansas City wins easily and covers easily as well. So let's move on. We got Eagles at the Raiders.
Oh, man. Well, so I think this Eagles defense, they're good up front, and they're, a little susceptible to the pass. But I also don't love the Raiders' offensive line. And the Eagles are getting some important guys back from injury. Some guys healthy, some guys that have been playing all year. And I think that Philly, I like Hurts. I don't know how much I love him going forward, but he's a great fantasy football quarterback. They do enough, Philly, to stay competitive on offense. I power rank these teams within a point of each other. John Gruden, not a great human, but great offensive mind. Losing him hurts this offense a lot, even though it didn't show last week. But Carr does fold under pressure if he's getting, pressure up front. Excuse me. And I love, for Fletcher Cox to have a big game. He's going to make, life miserable for Carr on Sunday. I'm taking the scumbag Eagles +3. Oh, man, Philly. But I do see Philly winning outright 24-23.
This is probably the one I'm least confident in. I think I lean the Raiders, and it has more to do. I can't trust the Eagles. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts is, like you said, he's a great fantasy football option. I've said before, I don't think he's a long-term option there. It doesn't really matter for this week.
No.
But I don't the Eagles just have this weird thing going on where I don't know that they know what they want to do. And I think that makes it hard to predict. I think the Raiders can do enough to win in this one. It's 3 is close. I would probably take the Raiders to cover the 3 points, but I don't feel great about that one.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I I would agree with that because this could be a classic coin flip game, and I could see the last winning by a touchdown, games tied, something like that.
Yeah,
Totally
100%.
possible.
All right, third on the slate here, we've got Indianapolis at San Francisco. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo back under center. What are we picking in this one?
Well, I'm taking the over 44 here. I know that these two teams do this over scares me a little bit because these two teams, they do like to play slower. They like to run the ball and all that. But the Niners are fresh off a bye. Like you said, Jimmy G's back. Wentz, he's starting to get a little hot. He's not trying to play hero ball because I think that's where he has his bad games. The Colts have some serious injury concerns at corner, and I don't particularly love the Niners defense aside from, some of their defensive line. But, I do like the Colts offensive line, even though they are missing I think they're missing their center, I believe. But, they should be okay against that pass rush. That should be a decent matchup. Both offenses, they score over 23 points a game. Meanwhile, the defenses give up 22 and 24 respectively. For me, it's just a little bit too low of a total. So I would gladly take the over. I'm going to score this game 25-24, and I might even sprinkle a little bit of Colts money line because I'm seeing the Colts win this game, even though they're getting 4.5, maybe 5 by now. But I'm seeing 25-24.
That's kind of surprising to me that I don't think the Colts are a bad team. I don't know that I feel like San Francisco is an outright better team than them. I like the over though. I do like the over, and I wouldn't hate Colts money line either because I do think that they win this game. Jimmy G coming back off injury, who knows what you get there. The 49ers are obviously going to find a way to run the ball effectively. They can always do that. And they've got enough weapons there, even without Kittle. We'll see if they ever get Brandon Ayuk back involved, but with Debo and the running backs that they have there, I do like the over. I think both of these defenses are susceptible to giving up some big plays. And I wouldn't hate it, Colts money line either. I think that's a little interesting.
Yeah, it won't be an official play, but I'll probably sprinkle a little bit on that just for fun.
If it hits, you reserve the right to victory lap it. Don't worry. Even if it's not official, it's okay.
I said it on the pod, so it kind of counts.
It's on record. It's not on the graphic, but it's on record. All right.
Only if it hits. Only if it hits.
Yeah, only if it hits. If it loses, strike it from the record entirely. Does not count. It was just a joke. The last game here, Cincinnati at Baltimore. I said to you privately before we started recording, this is probably the game I'm most excited about this weekend. Let me know what you think about this one.
So this was the first game that I ran my numbers on, and at first I was like, no, this isn't right. Like, what am I don't know what. And I spoke to you about it because I gave you 3 picks, and I was like, I want to bet the Bengals, but I don't want to bet the Bengals. So I'm not totally sure what the identity of the Bengals is, but they do have some weapons on offense that I absolutely love, and they are clicking. Surprisingly, the defense has been pretty stout. They're only allowing 90 yards per game in the rushing, 18 points per game overall, and even less when they're not home. They rank 13th in passing yards allowed per game. Listen, Lamar and the Ravens are absolutely electric. I mean, there's no denying that. But I think their record is a bit deceiving. They're 5-1. They they should have lost to Detroit. That was the old was that the expired clock?
Yeah, the record kick.
Yeah, and the record kick. KC, that was a field goal game. They had to win in overtime versus the Colts when Wentz was coming back from. He wasn't even supposed to play that week. Wasn't he? Had like 2 busted ankles.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they're a bad team. They're a great team, and this is the division game. It's improved Bengal defense and a rising offense that I like. I'm going to take the points with the road dog. With the Bengals 6.5, I see this as a close one, 24-23 Ravens.
I pretty much agree with everything you said about that one. I think the Bengals will keep this game close. I think Baltimore wins, but I don't think it's going to be like a rout. I don't think they're going to win easily. I think Cincinnati can do enough offensively to keep it interesting down the stretch. Um, and 6.5 feels like a lot. Like if you told me it was, 3.5, I might feel a little bit different. But I think they'll keep it close enough. I think this will be a close one down to the wire. I think Baltimore wins, but I do like the Bengals getting 6.5 on that one.
Yeah, and like we were saying before we went live, it's getting resistance at 6.5. Like you would think that a lot of people, they're jumping on Baltimore. They're a hot team. They're good. It should be at 7, and it's not. It's hanging at 6.5. I'm even seeing it as a juicy 6. You can get it if you want it. So somebody is betting the Bengals, which is with some money, which is always interesting. But yeah, I think this is a close game. It's going to be probably like you said. I think it's going to be one of the better games this week.
Yeah, I am excited for that one. Uh, probably, probably most excited of the slate. The week of games that we said before, these 4 games are probably the ones I'm most excited to watch this weekend.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of got some stinkers, but that's all right. So we got Chiefs -4.5, Eagles +3, over 44 between Indy and San Fran, and Bengals +6.5. We'll get back to the second half of watching this Broncos Browns game, see if we can get some electric Case Keenum highlights in here. Pete, I appreciate you coming on and joining us as always, and we'll have a better week than last week.
Hope so. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.